Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. As mentioned, my name is Justin Fairfax. I'm a candidate for Attorney General of Virginia. I'm very honored to be here with you all today. Many of you know my background and others don't, so I want to share a little bit about that and our vision for this office and what we plan to do in that office to fight for Virginia's families and businesses. I am a former federal prosecutor. I was an assistant United States attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia in Alexandria, where I prosecuted crimes, the major crimes and narcotics unit. I was also appointed by the U.S. Attorney to be the deputy of the Northern Virginia Human Trafficking Task Force. And so that was work that I loved. It was a job that I loved because it was very focused on making sure that we fought for more safe communities, more security and opportunity to make sure that our families could thrive, that businesses could thrive. And that has been not only the theme of our campaign, but it's also the passion of my life. Having security and opportunity is what took me from a place where we were raised in very difficult circumstances. I was raised right across the river here in D.C. By my mother and by my grandparents, the youngest of 4 children. But because they fought for us, because we had a community that cared about us, and folks who gave us economic security and opportunity and educational opportunities, our lives are very different. And my wife, Dr. Serena Fairfax, and I, we own a dental practice about 6 miles away from here, and bought it about 6 years ago. We're able to provide our 2 young children, our son Cameron, who is 3, and our daughter Karis, who will turn 2 in 2 weeks, with a much brighter future than what we had starting out. We believe that that is the right and should be the future and the journey of every single family in Virginia. And that's what our campaign has been focused on, and that's how we've come so far, so fast in this race. I'm honored to say that one of our co-chairs is Senator Tim Kaine's treasurer, Warren Thompson. Robert Gray, former president of the American Bar Association, is another co-chair. Former White House counsel Greg Craig endorsed this several weeks ago. And it's not just been about the big name endorsements and co-chairs, but it's really been about the excitement that we've generated all around this Commonwealth. And people have heard that message of fighting for more security and opportunity for all of our families, and it's resonated. And people say, I didn't know an Attorney General could focus on those things, because they've seen what our current Attorney General has done. As Mark mentioned, Ken Cuccinelli is focused on all the wrong things, chipping away at our rights, and making less opportunity available for women and young folks, and people who just want a better shot and a shot at the American dream. We have a very different vision for the Attorney General's office. And as you all know in this room, I don't have to tell you, we have not won this race in 24 years. We as Democrats. 1989 was the last time we had a Democratic Attorney General. And so we're not going to get there by doing something ordinary. That's not how you overcome history, and that's not how you break a streak of 24 years. We have got to do something extraordinary in this race. And that's what our campaign has been about. And we've been on an extraordinary journey in this campaign. We've gone around the Commonwealth and told folks, not only do we need a new Attorney General, which we desperately need, but we need a new kind of Attorney General in Virginia. And that's what I present, and that's what I plan to do in this office. As far as my background, I went to Duke University undergrad, where I met my beautiful wife, Serena. And I went on to work in politics and policy for a couple of years before going to Columbia Law School, where I was very fortunate to be selected to the Law Review. I left Columbia to become a federal law clerk in the Federal District Court in Alexandria, where I later would become a federal prosecutor. But in between there, I worked at a large international law firm, Wilmer Hale, that used to be Wilmer Covey Pickering. And I worked there almost 4 years. And I did white-collar criminal defense work and also complex commercial civil litigation. And so we believe, when I talk about a new kind of Attorney General, we need an AG who's focused on serious, high-level legal work that fights for our families and for our businesses, that takes the politics out of that office, and that restores the credibility of the office of Attorney General. That's what we need. That's what our families want. That's what our businesses want. And that's what they deserve. And so that is the vision that we have for this office. And that's the vision that we plan to pursue when elected. When we talk about economic security and opportunity, we specifically want to focus on protecting homeowners throughout this Commonwealth. Not only is the right thing to do, but it's the best thing to do for our economy to get things moving again. As you all know, in the last 5 years in Virginia, we have had 85,000 foreclosures. And what that has led to is $26 billion, it's billion with a B, in lost equity in all of our homes. Now that's devastating for a family to lose equity at that magnitude on the individual level. But on the community, the city, the county, and the state level, it's devastating to our economic prospects moving forward. Our recovery has been sluggish enough. To have $26 billion in lost equity and families fighting through that, we have got to clean up the mortgage market. We've got to hold mortgage scammers and unscrupulous lenders accountable, something that a state AG can now do through the Dodd-Frank Act. It's been empowered to enforce federal regulations and laws, and that is something I would do as AG, be a cop on the economic beat. And that is a pro-business message, by the way, because we want to fight for our good businesses who play by the rules. You all, who are great business folks, provide jobs and opportunities throughout this Commonwealth. You shouldn't lose market share to companies that are skirting the rules, that aren't complying. They don't have to incur the same compliance costs that you do. You play by the rules, you want to win, you provide jobs and security throughout this Commonwealth, you should have a fair playing field as well. And that's what we'll fight for. We also want to fight to make sure that more students have economic opportunity and the opportunity to go to college. What we have seen for the first time in American history is students going bankrupt in their 20s and 30s just because they get student loans and want to get an education. We have got to clean up the private student lending market. We've got to force those folks out who have done such damage to our students and their economic prospects. And again, this is something that's very personal for me. Having access to education, to scholarships, to work study, changed everything that's possible for me in my life and for my wife as well. And there's nothing special, as I say around this Commonwealth, about me that means I should be one of the only ones who gets that. Every child should know that if they want an education, they're willing to work hard, we're going to make sure they can do that safely, and their economic hopes aren't dimmed just because they want to get that higher education. And we've got to make sure there's more access to capital for young folks and families and others to start and grow small businesses. As I mentioned, my wife and I are small business owners. It changed everything else that's possible in our lives. So that's been our message, and I would love to earn your support and talk with you more about our platform, but we plan to make some history and win this office back for the first time in 24 years with your help. So thank you all very much.